My heart was doing a frantic drum solo against my ribs. No, no, I don't work here. I wanted to scream, but the words were stuck in my throat, replaced by the insistent beep-boop of the cash register I was somehow operating. A line of impatient Best Buy customers stared, a manager glowered, and I, Cameron, a humble Staples technician, was caught in the most absurd retail nightmare of my life. It had all started innocently enough. Just a few hours earlier, I'd wrapped up my shift at Staples, leaving a trail of revitalized laptops and grateful customers in my wake. The only thing on my mind was hitting up Best Buy for some cheap DVD. Retail therapy, you know? But as I clocked out, there he was, Mr. Entitled, a regular customer of ours, the kind of guy who thought the world revolved around his tech needs and that customer is always right was a divine decree. I just wanted to escape his orbit, but he caught my eye. He was on his way out, thankfully. I breathed a sigh of relief. Little did I know our paths were destined to cross again, much to my detriment. I was deep in the DVD aisle at Best Buy, humming along to some terrible in-store music, when a voice cut through the air. "Cameron, hey Cameron!" I froze. No way. I ducked behind a stack of Blu-rays, but it was too late. Mr. Entitled had me in his sights. He swaggered over, a triumphant smirk on his face. "Knew it was you. Listen, I need your help. My nephew's asking for this really specific gaming headset, and I just know you'll be able to find it for me. You're good with computers, right?" I mean, yeah, I'm good with computers, but I don't work for Best Buy. Still, he had that insistent glint in his eye, and I'm a naturally helpful guy, maybe to a fault. Plus, he knew I was a tech at Staples, so it felt like a friendly, if slightly pushy, neighborly request. Sure, Mr. Entitled," I mumbled, feeling a weird sense of obligation. I hopped onto a demo laptop nearby, quickly punched in the product details, and found it was in stock. "Looks like you're good to go?" I told him. He barely grunted a thank you before wandering off, leaving me to my bewildered browsing. A few minutes later, I grabbed a couple of DVDs and headed for the checkout. And of course, who's standing right in front of me, already talking to the cashier? Mr. Entitled. He must have gone straight to the register. I sighed, preparing myself for another awkward interaction. That's when things went truly sideways. A frantic-looking Best Buy floor manager, clearly stressed and short-staffed, practically power-walked up to me. "Hey you, the guy in the blue shirt," he barked, pointing a demanding finger. My shirt was indeed blue. A blue polo, identical in color to the Best Buy employee uniform. It hit me then. He'd probably seen me helping Mr. Entitled earlier, assumed I was an employee, and was now seizing an opportunity. "We need another register open now. Get over here." My brain short-circuited. I was wearing my Staples polo, but it was blue. The store was packed. The manager looked like he was about to pop a blood vessel. I felt a surge of panic, but also that ingrained customer service reflex. It was a reflex that was about to betray me. Without really thinking, I just went. I walked behind the nearest available register, fumbling with the keys, trying to figure out how to log in. My mind was racing. This is wrong. This is so wrong. But people were already lining up, thrusting items at me. The manager was still hovering, muttering about efficiency. The pressure mounted. I tried to speak, to say, "Excuse me, I actually don't work here," but the words felt too confrontational, too loud. Everyone was staring. So, I just started ringing them up. One customer, then another. The beep-boop of the scanner was mocking me. My hands were sweating. I knew how to use a register, sure, but this wasn't my register. This wasn't my store. The manager walked by again, his eyes narrowed. "What's the hold up? Keep it moving." That was it? I couldn't do it anymore. My stomach churned. Sir?" I said, my voice barely a squeak. "I really shouldn't be handling money. I don't work here." His eyes widened, then narrowed into slits of pure fury. "What? What do you mean you don't work here? Are you messing with me? Get off that register right now." "I want to speak to a manager, and I mean a real manager," he bellowed, his voice echoing through the store. Heads turned. Customers in my line exchanged bewildered glances. My face burned. This time I didn't hesitate. I really wanted to speak to a manager. "Yes, sir." I practically yelled back, relieved to have an excuse to step away from the register. I saw a general manager's office sign nearby and, finding an intercom system, practically pounced on it. "Attention, store manager, could you please report to the front lanes? Urgent matter." It felt like an eternity, but soon a calmer, older man in a Best Buy suit appeared. He looked tired but composed. "What's going on here?" he asked, eyeing the agitated floor manager and my bright red face. "This joker here," the floor manager practically shrieked, pointing at me, "got behind a register and then claims he doesn't even work here. Impersonating staff, handling money." "Sir, with all due respect, I was asked to open a register by him," I countered, pointing back at the floor manager. "I'm a technician at Staples, just here shopping. My shirt is blue, yes, but it's a Staples uniform." I was just trying to be helpful when he mistook me. I quickly explained how Mr. Entitled had approached me earlier, how the floor manager had then ordered me behind the register, and my subsequent panic. The store manager listened, his expression slowly shifting from confusion to understanding. He looked from my Staples logo to his floor manager's sputtering face. "Is this true?" he asked his employee, a dangerous calm in his voice. The floor manager looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him whole. I thought he was wearing a blue shirt. "Mistaking a customer for an employee and ordering them to operate a cash register?" The store manager shook his head. "Go wait in my office now." The floor manager, deflated and humiliated, shuffled off. The store manager then turned to me, a small apologetic smile gracing his lips. "I am so incredibly sorry for this, sir. Thank you for handling it so professionally." He quickly found an actual Best Buy employee to take over the register. "Can I offer you a gift card for your trouble? Or perhaps help you with your DVDs?" I just wanted to get out of there. "No, thank you," I said, my voice still a bit shaky. "I think I've had enough Best Buy for one day." I spent over an hour in that store, and maybe 5 minutes of it was actually shopping for myself. The rest was a surreal blur of forced customer service, internal panic, and public humiliation. As I finally walked out, empty-handed, I swore I saw Mr. Entitled in the parking lot, glaring at me like I'd somehow personally inconvenienced him. Some people just don't get it. And some of us apparently are just too darn helpful for our own good. Never again will I wear a blue shirt into Best Buy.
This next one had Reddit losing its mind. Quick pause, subscribe now, because the chaos doesn't stop here.
My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drum against the sudden rough grip on my shoulder. I spun around, 10 years old and already thoroughly confused, to face the same man who'd just walked away from me a minute earlier. His face was flushed, eyes narrowed, and he looked like he was barely holding back a yell. "Where is the washing?" he demanded, his voice a low growl that still sent shivers down my spine all these years later. Just moments before, Mom and I were having a perfectly normal Tuesday. We were deep in the frozen foods aisle, arguing playfully mostly about whether we really needed those extra-large potato smiley faces. I was just a kid, minding my own business, pretending my shopping cart was a race car, when this dude just materialized. "Excuse me," he'd said, his tone already a little too sharp for a casual inquiry. Being a polite kid, I'd turned, "Yes?" "Where do you work?" he'd shot back, scanning me up and down. I was wearing my regular clothes, a t-shirt and shorts probably covered in some sticky mystery stain. Nothing even remotely uniform-like. I remember blinking at him, bewildered. I don't work here. I'm just shopping with my mom." I gestured vaguely towards the other side of the aisle where Mom was humming along to the store's music, still pondering frozen vegetables. He just stared at me for a beat, a flicker of irritation crossing his features before letting out a huff and marching off, muttering something under his breath. I figured that was that. Weird, but whatever. Kids encounter weird adults all the time. But no. Oh, hell no. Suddenly, I heard it again. "Excuse me." This time it was louder, angrier. I turned and that's when he grabbed me. His fingers dug into my shoulder, surprisingly strong, and he yanked me around to face him fully. That's when he hit me with the "where is the washing" line. I mean, washing? My brain scrambled. Laundry detergent? Dish soap? I had no idea what he was even talking about, let alone why he thought I would know. I don't know, I stammered, trying to twist away. I'm just a kid. His grip tightened, his eyes narrowing further as if just now connecting the dots that I was the same 10-year-old he'd accosted earlier. A sneer spread across his face. "Unbelievable," he scoffed, not at me specifically, but more to the ether. "Can't find anyone who actually works here. Nobody wants to do their job these days." My cheeks burned. I felt small, exposed, and utterly humiliated. I looked desperately for Mom, who was now staring, a frown etched on her face. having heard the commotion. Before she could even take a step, a male store employee, a big guy with a kind but firm face, suddenly appeared like a superhero. He must have heard the yelling. "Sir, is there a problem here?" he asked, stepping between me and the agitated man. "Yes, the problem is nobody knows where anything is. And this boy here, he jabbed a finger then prodded my chest with it. He's just being unhelpful." That chest prod, was it? It was the straw that broke the camel's back for everyone involved. Mom let out a gasp of outrage and practically flew over, putting her body between me and the man. "Do not touch my son," she snapped, her voice low and dangerous. The employee's face hardened. "Sir, you are not to touch customers, especially a child. That is considered assault." His voice left no room for argument. "You are no longer welcome in this store. You need to leave, now." But this guy, man, he was something else. He completely ignored the employee, tried to sidestep him to get to Mom and me. "I just want to find the washing." "Are you going to serve me or not?" he demanded, his eyes wide with a bizarre sense of entitlement. The employee stood firm, blocking his path. "No, sir. You are banned from this store. If you do not leave immediately, I will be calling the police." I don't remember much after that, just the blur of Mom comforting me, her arm wrapped tight around me. I know the police were called, or at least threatened very seriously. We were ushered to the back office, given juice boxes and asked questions, while the guy was escorted out, still muttering darkly about customer service. My younger sister, who'd been with us, was just confused, asking why the man was mad at Jensen. I wish he'd been arrested, honestly, for grabbing me, for prodding me, for making a 10-year-old feel like he was doing something wrong just for existing. Looking back, that guy was a whirlwind of misplaced anger, entitlement, and just plain aggressive delusion. And yeah, I was a kid who just wanted to find some potato smileys, not become a supermarket employee for a dude who apparently couldn't read signs. It makes you realize how quickly a normal day can turn completely upside down, all because some random adult can't deal with their own frustrations. Anyway, that's my story. Stay safe out there, y'all, and maybe learn to read the signs for the washing.
I was on a road trip, utterly wiped when I pulled into a rest stop. Needed a break, some caffeine, maybe a water filter for my cousin from the Red Bullseye store nearby, you know the one. My brain was half fried from hours of highway, and I was just trying to remember what kind of filter my cousin even used, minding my own business in the small appliance aisle. That's when this tiny, earnest voice piped up right behind me. "Excuse me, sir, can you help me find the Oreos?" I turned, already forming the polite "I don't work here" kiddo on my lips. My usual response to being mistaken for an employee was automatic, a little tired shrug. But then I saw him. He must have been about 5 or 6, clutching a slightly grubby stuffed elephant, looking up at me with eyes so wide and hopeful they could melt glaciers. My usual spiel caught in my throat. I scanned the aisle, half hoping to spot an actual store employee in their familiar red and khaki uniform. Nothing. Dead quiet, just the hum of refrigerators. "Sorry, buddy," I said, feeling a twinge of guilt. "I really don't work here. You should ask someone who does." His lower lip wobbled just a fraction. "But I really need them for my sister," he mumbled, voice barely above a whisper. "She's not feeling good, and I want to make her feel better." Man, that hit me. The fatigue of driving for hours just kind of melted away. This wasn't some entitled brat demanding service. This was a little dude on a mission of sibling love, powered by chocolatey goodness. How could I say no to that? "All right, buddy," I heard myself say, a grin spreading across my face. "Let's find those Oreos. Consider me your honorary snack detective." His whole face lit up like a Christmas tree. "Really?" he squeaked. "Really?" I confirmed. And just like that, my dull water filter quest turned into the great Oreo hunt of 24. We must have walked what felt like miles up and down every single aisle. The kid, who introduced himself as Ethan, was surprisingly focused, a little shadow darting ahead, then waiting patiently for me to catch up. Every time we passed the cookie aisle without the right ones, his little shoulders slumped a bit, and I found myself getting genuinely invested. Where were they? This was harder than it looked. No employees to ask, and the store felt massive. Finally, tucked away on a lower shelf near the milk and juice, there they were, the iconic blue packaging. Ethan's excited gasp was awesome. "The double-stuffed ones, please," he practically yelled, pointing with his free hand. "You got it, champ," I said, grabbing the pack. We started making our way to the registers, the mission accomplished. That's when his mom, looking a bit harried and frankly confused, appeared seemingly out of nowhere. "Ethan? What are you doing with this man?" Her eyes narrowed, darting between me, her son, and the Oreos in my hand. For a split second, I saw that familiar stranger danger look, and my heart did a little flop. Oh boy. "Mom, he helped me find the Oreos for Lily," Ethan chirped, completely oblivious to the sudden tension in the air. I quickly held up my hands in a no-threat gesture. "Hi there, ma'am. No worries, I don't work here. Your son just needed a hand finding these. Said his sister wasn't feeling well and he wanted to cheer her up." I gave her my most reassuring smile. Her eyes softened almost instantly. The confusion melted into relief, then genuine gratitude. "Oh, thank you so much," she said, a hand going to her chest. "I was just in the pharmacy picking up her medicine and I couldn't find him. You really helped us out." "My pleasure," I said, and I actually meant it. We watched as she paid, the kid practically bouncing with his prize. As they walked away, little Ethan waving goodbye with his free hand, I just stood there for a second. That warm, fuzzy feeling? Yeah, it was real. You go into a store expecting to grab a water filter, and instead you end up helping a tiny human on a quest of kindness. It reminded me that sometimes the best "I don't work here" lady stories aren't about entitlement or arguments, but about just being a decent human when someone needs it. So yeah, not every mistaken identity has to be a headache. Some are actually pretty sweet.
This next one might just be your new favorite.